tailor-made life, a tailor-made life, a tailor-made life, a tailor-made life.
Hello everyone. Hello beautiful souls. I am Laetitia Donoma. I am musician, composer, and also a writer, and also vocal coach and art therapist. And today I'm really happy to introduce you Daan Gorter. He's a Dutch rocket scientist, co-founder of GaiaNet and a steward of the Light Cities project. He set out on a journey to connect change makers, scientists, pattern breakers, shamans, healers, rebels, and academics for the birthing of a new humanity through the construction of an integrated network of city systems focused on global human need, fulfillment, and ecological flourishing. So,
what is the goal that you want to share with everybody today?
I want to encourage everybody to break out of the pattern of everyday life, to figure out who you really are, why you are here, and then put that into use, because everybody is very much needed right now in this difficult time on this planet.
Yeah. Do you remember when you started to feel this, that you wanted to reach this point for yourself, I guess, when it started in your life to have this desire?
I think in a way I've always known, and I've always been looking since I was a kid. And at the same time, I acknowledge I still don't know anything. So I'm, in that sense, still exploring, but the hunger for the answer has calmed down, and it's more like watching a beautiful movie unfold. So I feel I've invested enough that now it's in a process and I'm in a flow where things are naturally occurring and I don't need to chase anything or initiate so much anymore. So it's become more peaceful.
Yeah. I would love to hear from you to really desire to change, I will say, to change the world. Maybe I make a mistake when I say this.
I have multiple perspectives and answers. And one is that I do not feel that I am alone able to change the world. I'm very small for that. And at the same time, I believe I can change the whole world. I can definitely change my own world and my own reality, and the people around me, I can influence them. Also, I don't really believe that there's a point of arrival, that you are empowered or that you are doing your purpose. I think it's until we blow our last breath, we are constantly learning and evolving. And I think it's a mistake that a lot of people talk about, oh, when you do this, then you arrive. It's the programming of the matrix that we are in, that starts as a child, do this education, and then you know, and then you become happy, and then get married and have kids, and then you get happy, and then you retire and you get happy, but you never arrive at a point where you have that. Life is not about that. Life is also not about being happy all the time, but life is definitely, well, if anything, about finding meaning in every moment and finding something purposeful. And I think that's worth striving for. I really appreciate the wordings of Jordan B. Peterson, the Canadian psychologist, about all of this. If people don't know him, he's a great motivational speech. He's a little dark. It's a little, I don't know if he's really that full of love inside, but he's a very useful guide in that. And for me, I think until a few years ago, I've really been... I started my path of growth and transformation really intensively at the age of 27. Before that, I was studying and educating myself and developing myself mentally, but I wasn't focused on the emotional and the spiritual part. And I brought that into my development over the last 11 years. And I think the first 7, 8 years of that process was really to try to get rid of my pain and my anxiety and depressions. And so I was on a healing journey to get rid of things. But the last years, it's not like I arrived and I'm all healed and I'm all without these problems, but it's come to a state of, it's much more peaceful now. And I feel I'm much more creating for something instead of moving away from something. And that's a really nice transition. And again, still sometimes I'm having difficult days or moments that I feel low or I feel a little lost or don't know what to do next. And I think that's being human. I hope that answers what you just asked.
And it's perfect. It's perfect because it's we are making a journey together. So it's perfect like this. Thank you for that. And your wounds or your difficulty or I don't know, your obstacle, what was the thing that you wanted to change within you? Why? And what
Well, yeah,
and what
the
did
motivation was because I was having a difficulty in connecting with women at an emotional and romantic level. I had several girlfriends, long-term relationships, and it wasn't really what I was hoping for it could be. And when I was approaching people, women I was really attracted to, I would get anxiety, I had a lot of pressure on my heart and difficulty to express myself. So I locked up, and that was my main motivation at the time, to improve my general social dynamics, because I also had it in new social environments, even though I was quite chatty. But now when I look back, and if you ask me about the wounding, I think the main thing, I had a very deep father wound. It was my relationship with my father as a child, that he didn't see me and put me down and didn't allow me to be emotionally free, because then again, it was not his fault. He also was bringing his wounding into the relationship that again comes from the ancestors. But now when I look back, I think that was the main theme that I worked on. I've released a lot of anger and sadness and pain and did, Jesus, hundreds and hundreds of hours of consultations, therapies, processes, and workshops. And yeah, I ended up living with him for 3 years and helping him in his terminal cancer process, and became best friends. And he just passed away. And it's like, it's so beautiful to look back into this journey. But that was the deep wounding. And that, for a man to have father wounding expresses itself in a multitude of things. It only doesn't only express itself with women, but it expresses itself in your work, in your activities, in your motivation, in your friendships, in your triggers, in how you deal with emotional upset, with setbacks. Yeah, it affects everything. Huh?
yeah, it's true. I'm really touched by your tellings because you told about all the workshop that you participate workshop and maybe therapist and a lot of things. What was to heal this and to transform, I guess, your beliefs, I guess, your behavior? Could you share with us some exercises that we can take?
I've had this question quite a lot from people, especially from people who've known me for a good few years. And the short answer is, I don't really have any tools for anybody to offer. And the reason for that is, I went on the same quest and I looked at other people, and this person said, wow, I did this training and it transformed my life. Like, wow, I got to do this because I want that too. I did the training, didn't do it for me. Then another one and another one and another one. And I think that, I don't know, maybe half of the things that I've undertaken didn't have much of an effect on me. So it's much more for people to learn to use their body and their mind as an instrument to feel if it's meant for them or not. It's much more valuable than me sharing like all the tools that I've used. I can say for me personally, the main things that have helped me, number one is definitely working with ayahuasca, with plant medicine from the Amazon. You can work with mushrooms or other kinds of psychoactive substances that really bring you out of your ego state and that bring you into a much more connectedness with the universe, but also in the connectedness with your emotions. It removes the blockages that you suppress your emotions with. You have to do that very well facilitated with a very good guide, because there's a lot of risks to doing that with the wrong people. I have had really amazing experiences with meditation, and I've also had breakthroughs in my, I'd say, day-to-day emotional state. At the moment, I don't meditate at all. I also don't do any yoga. Yeah, and I think the other big impact was a personal leadership training by a company in the Netherlands, which is a combination of NLP, family constellations, belief work. It's a cognitive-based therapy with emotional releases, and well, that really worked. And besides that, the family constellation work that I've done has been very useful. And I think for men in general, it's very important to find emotionally mature men to have deep interaction with in a safe space, in a space where you can truly express yourself, where you won't be judged and put down by the other men in the room. It's so rare in our society that men can be vulnerable with each other. So those are big things that have really made an enormous impact. But again, that being said, it doesn't have to work at all for the person who's listening to this audio. If I only knew this tip that, like, look, there's so much out there in the world, and maybe try a snippet and listen to people, but in the end, follow your gut and don't try to figure it out with your head. Feel where you're most drawn to. And if you don't know how to feel, then that's a good step. Then learn to feel. A lot of men particularly, but I think also women in the Western world, are so stuck in their head, just thinking, analyzing everything. And if you notice that your energy or your awareness or your mind, or especially if you have no clue what I'm talking about, then for sure you're stuck in your head. But if you're aware of where you are with your consciousness somewhere in your body presence, then you will know when you are in which place of your body. And well, and that again, we know from human design that some people are more, they more have their, let's say, sensing capabilities in their heart center, whereas others have it more in their root, whereas others might really have more of a mental response to the choices that they get. So also each being is so unique. So yeah.
So thank you for this sharing. What was the time when you started this process? Do you remember when your life started to change, when your behavior started to change with the woman, for example, and with all your situation outside in your life?
Yeah, I have several turning points. So the real start of it all was the 1st of January 2011, when I made this decision that I want to take charge of my life. When I actually accepted the possibility that you can become much more than what you're told that you are. And even though I come from the Dutch culture, it's quite open-minded, no? And you would think that people are quite engaged in personal growth and transformation. And nowadays, it has changed a lot in Holland. There is much more awareness about that. 10 years ago, not really. And also the friends that I had around me, none of them were focusing on growing. I ended my last relationship that time. I was 3 years with her, and there was not really that fire in that relationship. And I realized that the women that I had been dating were kind of came on my path, and it was kind of convenient, or it was kind of like easy or something. And I hadn't really, I at that time had this feeling like some men are just naturally good with women, and they go out and they flirt, and they're the true Casanovas. And I just thought I wasn't. I don't know how I got that in my head. I was so insecure also. It also had to do with my father not being a role model in that at all, and not having any male examples around me, close contacts who were good at that. So I didn't have any of these conversations. And then a couple of years before that, I got a book sent by a friend. It was called Double Your Dating. And in that book was a story of a guy who, well, basically he was a nerd. And then he learned the art of romance and the art of dating. And he worked on himself, he changed, and he became very successful in the interaction with women. And when I first read that book, I didn't believe it. I thought it was just a marketing joke to make money. But then when that relationship ended, I had one of my best friends. I said to him, his relationship also ended. And we both realized that we were not really feeling like the man in the relationship. We more felt like the women were more in control, not really in control, but it's not like we were in charge of our own steps and path in that relationship. And we both acknowledged that in each other and said, well, look, I read this book a couple of years ago, and it's by this guy, and I saw there's all kinds of his seminars we can download on the internet. And why don't we go watch one of those trainings, and we report back to each other every day? Let's watch 1 hour a day, make notes, and have a call every day about this. And he's like, I'm in. So yeah, that's when it started. And the program was called Deep Inner Game. And it explained, I think what most stuck with me was how to develop courage. And that when you overcome your fears, you fill up your jar of courage, and it gets bigger and fuller. But if you don't do that, you stay in this cycle of fear and anxiety, and you just lose the life out of you all the time. And that was for me like, wow, I want to be more courageous. I want to get better at this. So that's how it's all started. Within a month, he met somebody in a bar where we were, and he's now married and has 2 kids. So he got out of that game really soon. But I soon found a whole new group of men in a community in the Netherlands that were all focused on this, and made new friends, and started my first men group. And from there on, yeah, it's been one hell of a roller coaster, really. It never stopped for me.
Yeah, wow. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's kind of community. You build a community around you. It's and it becomes really supportive. And I have the feeling when I develop myself in a group, I go much faster than alone. There is so much connection, and everybody heals something, and it helps the other to heal also and to develop. So it's fantastic. And
there's a mountain of research about this, about peer learning. One of our closest contacts is Leo Bottery of Peer Innovation, and he co-creates high performance cross-functional teams in corporations, but also brings CEOs of different companies together in peer learning groups. I facilitated mastermind groups for entrepreneurs, and you just see, the cross-pollination between people and how people motivate and challenge each other and see someone growing and they want to grow with. Oh, it's so inspiring and motivational. If I hadn't had that 10 years ago, I would never be where I am right now. So,
yes, thank you
it's
for
essential.
that. Yeah, exactly. And it shows the way how the community is important, and how when we are all connected in this supportive way, how we can grow all together and push each one further. So it's a part of this new world that we can build.
I guess, when I summarize everything, I started to go on a spiritual journey quite soon in my journey, in my growth journey. And it started with meditation, and I had some out-of-body experience, and it made me realize there has to be more than just the physical reality. I was studying aerospace engineering at the time, so I was very mechanically minded. And through the plants, I've had hundreds of ceremonies in my life with all kinds of different plants. And that has made me, the very first intense one I had, I went out of my body and I felt my soul and I felt my eternal self. That was one of the things that happened. And the other thing was I was lying on the ground and I could feel the heartbeat of this planet. And I could feel the unconditional love of Mother Earth for humanity. And it was a kind of love that I had never experienced before. And it's something I can't describe it. I imagine it's the kind of love that a mother feels for her child, that I was really feeling from my mother, but not from my biological mother. Well, she is my biological mother, this planet.
Yes.
But that kind of a overwhelming feeling of oneness and of love changed everything and made me super curious. And the third thing that happened in that first ceremony was something I cannot explain differently than a incredible charge of primal, Big Bang kind of energy that flew through me, and it felt like I was exploding. And that brought me on a path like, what is that? And who am I? And why did I just experience that? And what am I supposed to do with this? This got to have a meaning. But that was a journey of years, huh? And I'm I think only this year it's starting to make sense. It's like 8 years later. And I still don't really know, but it's starting to make more sense now.
What did the thing who is starting to be a little more different now for you?
Acknowledge that I am here for a reason and that I have a work to do here. Definitely not alone, definitely with a lot of people. And that this work is important and that I'm allowed to be proud of it. And it has nothing to do with ego. And it is pure self-love and acknowledgement. It's really believing in who I am and that I'm so unique. There's nobody like me on the planet. That doesn't mean that if I die or if I am taken out of the equation, that all of the marvelous things that I see in the future are not still going to happen. So, because that's a trap. That's again the trap of the ego to think like, oh, I'm important, I am special. Without me, it's not going to happen. No, no, no. But there's also that chance that all of that won't happen, or that if I am gone, that it will take a couple of 100 years more before someone else comes back or I come back in another form. In the end, that's the great mystery. I don't know, but the thing that is coming to settle is that acknowledgement and not thinking that I'm crazy anymore. And yeah, really being okay with that. That's as much as I can make sense of it.
Yeah. And did you feel like this? You know, it's really new for you to feel this beauty of your being, that you are really wonderful, that you can really feel the love for yourself and the love for outside. It is really new for you, or you had it before during your youth? You were connected to this during your childhood, or it's new because of your process?
No, it's something of the last 10 years. Before the age of 27, I didn't like myself in general. I'd say the overall state was not from self-love. I had amazing experiences and I was not putting myself down all the time, but I wasn't proud of myself. I felt weak. I felt like a hurt child. I wanted to kill the boy inside. There's a lot of self-loathing and self-judgment and depression. Actually, since the age of, I think, well, according to my parents, as soon as I was born, my first word was no, and I don't want. So that was during my childhood. And during my teenage years, I was very depressed. I was very alone and isolated. And over the last 10 years, I've had countless experiences where I saw myself, recognized myself, felt this immense self-love. But for that to become more of a modus operandi, for that to become more of a day-to-day thing, that now I'm looking at myself, yeah, man, you're great, man. Oh, yeah, I love you. Oh, yeah, I'm proud of you. And I can genuinely say that now. That is really something of the last 2 years that I feel that most of the time. So I had to have many experiences that dissolved these limiting beliefs that I am not important and I'm not beautiful and I'm not whatever. And I had to repeat because the programming in our brain is so strong. And most of this is formed though from the age of 0 to 7 or 8. We form most of our self-image, and after that we close our what comes inside. And during our teenage years, and all of those were not that stimulating for me, of that acknowledgement of who I am. Yeah.
About all these beliefs and thoughts, really, I will say, destructive. Did you train your mind to think positively about yourself?
Yeah, I did all kinds of things. It's so hard to answer this also. You know, it's not causal. It's not one thing. It's the things are complex, and the solutions are complex, and the process is complex. It all helped, you know, and it helps to have nice people around, and it helps to work on beautiful things and get recognition. It helps to be in a healthy romantic relationship with a partner. I mean, you can shine and flourish for 10, 15 years. You can meet the wrong person and be in a destructive relationship for 2 years, and you can be completely destroyed again. And it's something that needs maintenance also. So yes, I did a lot of things. If that really all did so much, I don't know. I think the most important is to really do what you love and really surround yourself with incredible people, and don't accept anything less from your surroundings. That is really, and be in a good environment, be around nature. It's an everyday thing. And if you don't make this part of your everyday life, then yeah, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, there is a lot of combination in between good relationship, good surrounding. If you start to feel your being like a treasure, like a wonderful gift, I can imagine that you start to give to yourself the best, the best person around you, the best house, the best nature, etc., etc.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to get out of their what they are in right now. I know it's really hard. It's been really hard for me to let go of old friends, or I don't know, to go live in the jungle for 5 months and leave my house in Amsterdam behind. I remember how terrified I was, and or even just to start a new university. No, it's all these things which is deep within our brain. It's so deep, this mechanism of survival, and changes in your daily life, inherently deeply programmed in your subconscious, means the risk of death, because it means you can be rejected from your tribe. And there's a lot of evolutionary psychology about this. So it's not easy to change these things, but it's so worth it, man. Wow. Yeah, if only I knew 10 years ago how I would feel now, how if I could just have a 5-minute experience of my current reality, how calm my head is and how warm my body is, and no more tensions, and looking where I am right now in this house with this view and with these people around me, it would have been so much easier to change and to let go of all the things that I let go of. But I didn't know that. And that's also, of course, the great unknown. I think it's a gift that we don't know the future. I think it would be pretty boring if you know all that. Then you don't have the fear, you don't have the victory, you don't have the redemption. Yeah. And in a way, it's amazing. But it's hard. But it's worth it, people. It's so worth it. Go for it. And I don't think I've met anybody in my life so far who's really gone on this deep transformational journey, who said after 5 or 10 years, like, I wish I didn't start that because that was so pointless. I want to go back to where I was 5 years ago. No, nobody, none of them. Everybody is so grateful. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's really touching for me because I see you in this beauty that you give to yourself, and this gratefulness that you have to receive all this now, and all the journey that you did. Like you said, it asks a lot of courage, involvement, and time to process. And at the same time, thank you to tell that if you knew now at the beginning that you will live what you are living now, it will be more fast or something like that. And at the same time, I think that for me, it's really great to hear and to hear you, to see that you succeeded. I will use this word, succeeded to really create this beauty that you deserve, and that each being deserve in this world. To know that it's possible gives a lot of courage also, and a lot of encouragement. I hope that it's in English word, to keep on going, and because I can see that it's possible. I can see that I can reach this point. So it gives me some strength to continue when I feel depressed, because I don't arrive to the point that I would love to reach. So I think it's really important for me to receive this. And I think that even if I know that this point is really possible, that I can really create this beauty all around me, I know that I will have to go through my fears.
I feel I've been gifted, or I've been blessed, or it's been presented to me, and I made the choice when the choice was there. But by no means could I have ever created. Of course, I created it if you look at it from a metaphysical level, huh? But I think there's such a trap in the personal development and in the success motivation and coaching world. It's so full of shit that they sell you something that you can control really your life. That in a way, it's just not true. Like where I am right now, where I am with my life, I could have never dreamed to arrive here. And by purely following the path of goal setting and creation as it's been taught in that personal development world, you don't get there because you're blinded by your rigidity of where you need to arrive and where you need to end, and you don't see the signs of magic. And I would really like to share briefly a quote by Terence McKenna about courage and about nature. And that really hits it for me. Terence McKenna, he is a renowned psychonaut and plant lover, and he writes, "Nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and nature responds to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is the shamanic dance in the waterfall. This is how magic is done. By hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed."
Thank you for this sharing. Yeah, I have the feeling that it's like a balance in between choices that you will make with unexpected events who will come to you. I have the feeling that it's a balance in between make this process to transform and to reach the place that you dream, and at the same time to really feel in trust and to let it go and to open to the unknown and to let the life brings you where maybe you never thought that you will come to this place. Feel confident about the life.
Yeah. It's this dance between deeply surrendering and at the same time not becoming inactive or apathic. It is taking charge and taking the next steps without holding on to the outcome. And this is really hard, by the way, huh? Because this is not how we are educated from birth, especially in the Western world. There are shamanic cultures, indigenous cultures that live like this. And this is also what Terence talks about the shamanic dance, about hurling yourself into the abyss and figuring out you just land on a soft bed. And we are not taught that. We are not taught how to move ourselves from within. We are taught to repeat and to follow a pattern and a program, and the outcome is happiness. And that's just not true. It has nothing to do with your material outcome either. It has everything to do with how you are with yourself and how well you are able to navigate your consciousness, this precious gift in this body. And also, again, to not get attached to the body or to whatever you create, really. It's and like the great philosophers all talk about this, and if you really truly understand the great religions also, and you understand the ancient scriptures, you can find this, but it's so old and it's so encrypted and it's so hard. If you're just trained in Western, whatever kind of academic movement, then you are not able to interpret that the way it's really truly meant. Again, that's why these plants and these shamanic practices are so powerful. And again, they're also not the end game, and they're not the solution. And they're also not for everybody. Some people achieve these states with meditation. I find it more hard to get there with meditation. In the end, this is also something. It's don't believe anything I say. Don't listen to anything I say. Don't make any decisions from what I say. Only follow your own direct experience. And don't listen to any guru or any teacher or anybody. Don't listen to anybody because they are all wrong. They can never know what's right for you. You are the only one. And even you don't know what's right for you. Maybe nobody will ever know what's right for you. But at least you got to try. And the best guide is your own direct experience over and over and over and over and over again. And go in it. Go empty. Without the backpack filled. Walk onto the playing field. Gather your experience. Don't judge it. Say no to the mind. Just stay out of the playing field while we're going into this game. And once the game's over, when you come out of that experience, then you unpack your backpack and you look at all the things. You think, oh, that was useful. I resonate with that. No, that was pointless. Throw that out, throw that out. And you're left with a couple of things that are incredibly valuable. And that's that alchemical gold that he talks about. That is transforming the here and now into something that you can carry with you for the rest of your life. And only you can experience that through you, by you. Nobody can tell you that. That's another big mistake, huh? That's also something really wrong with the world if you ask me about this programmed belief that other people have the answer that you're seeking. No, don't exist.
I follow you totally, that each one has to find his own way and his own tools in his own process according to his her own vibration, her own energy. Did you dream about what you live today? Because maybe not in this country, maybe not with this I don't know, this situation, but did you have a memory about something that one day you felt you in this situation that you are living now, or not at all?
No, I think zero.
Zero?
No, where I saw myself in the future has just changed every couple of years. The dream to live in community that's almost 10 years old, so that's not so new. Maybe 8 years, but the reality, what I'm living now, no, I had no clue. I would never know that I would be in such an environment. I mean, I was trying to build a village in Ireland 8 years ago with a girl, and now I'm in Brazil in Alto Paraíso, and we're here to build a prototype city. Like, even the dream has changed. A couple of years ago, I still envisioned to build a model village of 100 and 150 homes or something in Costa Rica. And thank God that I had a mentor who has really helped me and guided me a lot in not getting attached to my dreams, so that I learned to let them go when something better showed up, and not felt it as a loss, but can really embrace it as a big gift. So our dreams are so malleable, no? Our dreams are ethereal, and the timelines are all changing, and there are so many influences of people, and there's nothing. Destiny is not set in stone, and destiny or chance are not mutually exclusive, and there is free will of everybody. So, there is just a great mystery of the dance of everything that's coming together, and the culmination of all these wonderful beings and all these other sentient beings. It's humanity, plants and animals. It's such a dance. And in the end, nobody has a clue what's going on. Nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows where this is going either. Not even the greatest visionaries and futurists know where this is going, because nobody's supposed to know. Well, that's what I think anyway. In the end, I also don't know.
That's perfect. I love this pictures of a dance. I love this, It gives me so much to dance with the life, and to take pleasure with what's happened, and at the same time to be connected and with oneself, and to continue to dance. It's the dance, it's to dance with the life, or to dance with someone. It's really to let the body flows, like without your mental. You follow the vibration, and you follow the movement, and you let your body doing by itself. And in this case, you are really connected with everything. So I like this idea of dancing the world. I have the feeling, maybe it's wrong, I have the feeling that you are dancing your life in your daily life. So to follow what's happened, and to be connected to yourself, and to react or to act from yourself, from the situation.
I think the hardest lesson so far with the plants that I'm doing my best to integrate every day is the message last year in May in 2020, when she told me, "Daan, you don't have to do anything." That's so hard because I'm such an action person, and I've been training myself for many years to get into action and to change the things and to set these goals. And now the message is, you don't have to do anything. And the less I do, the more happens. It's so incredible. I don't think that works when you're really at the beginning of this kind of a journey. I think if I would have tried to practice that 10 years ago, not much would have changed. I think we are able to reach a certain state. I don't know if this has anything to do with enlightenment. I always used to believe that. I always had a dream also to reach enlightenment. And it was not so much to become more beautiful, but it was really to have no more suffering. Because there's so much suffering in this life. It's so hard to be incarnated, and it's so heavy to be here in this reality. At the same time, it's both true. At the same time, it's incredibly beautiful to be here. It's both equally true. But this not doing is, what's it called? Huawei in the Taoist teachings. Huawei. It doesn't mean that you become inactive again. It doesn't mean that you become apathic, but it means that you embody a certain state of presence, that when the things arrive in your life, that you know what to react to, and then you will make a decision, and then you will act. But that means you're not initiating or pushing or pulling, or you allow life to come to you. And then when it's right for you, and you need to learn, you really need to train yourself to distinguish what is right for you and what is really not right for you, because you'll be tested all the time. And there's all these challenges all the time of things that are absolutely not for you, and you thought they were for you, and you go for them, and you like hit your head on the wall, and oof, well, you learn your lesson. Oh, that was not for me. And at the same time, when all that happens, it's also important to not become resentful from that, from the pain and the suffering of the lessons that you inevitably need to learn in order to become more in tune and more in flow. Yeah, that's again the beautiful dance of life. But it's the not doing that I'm still, I'm getting better at it, but I still find that quite hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And our society also push the culture that we have in the West. It's really, we have to be someone, to be recognized, to be loved, to be etc.
Be worthy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's some pattern to change, to really to accept to not do and to let the life do.
Helps to be in Brazil. The people are less dewy here. They're still hard workers, but there's much more relaxedness in the people. So if you live in Europe and you feel you're stuck in your head and you want to be in nature and you want to come more into your heart and become more in connection with the moment, then Brazil is a good playing ground, for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. To follow the flow, to really dance, and to really be connected to our being at each moment. Yeah, it has to quit all these beliefs from the society. It's also this in my society in France that I received, and that I have the feeling that it's kind of the same in Netherlands, about doing the work to be someone. So it's also to let it go, a lot of beliefs from the childhood and the origin, and also from the society, the surrounding, to follow this flow of life, this dance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the shamanic way, this old practice, really connected to the nature, really connected to the meaning of the sacred plant, the sacred nature, who has so much to teach, to
Everything.
to give.
Everything.
Yeah.
Nature knows best. Nature knows everything best. We are very ignorant and short-sighted that we think we know anything better than this magical growth of man. It teaches us so much. Just look at the plants and the birds, but we don't take that time anymore. And when you look at it, before the agricultural revolution, every culture was a shamanic culture. And if you look now outside of the Western culture, then 90% of the cultures that you find outside of the Western capitalistic culture are all still shamanic cultures. I think this is our natural state, because it's nothing more than being in resonance with nature. It's an art to bring that into when you're born in the West, to bring that into your life. It's not easy. There's a lot of conflicting things in there also. Programming is very strong, but it's worth it, and like it's needed also. It's really necessary. That brings me back to what I said at the very beginning of the call. We need everybody on board. We are in a very dire situation. We are heading for massive planetary collapse, ecological, societal, financial, our infrastructures, everything is going to collapse. I'm personally arriving at the point it's hard to process it emotionally, but starting to accept that it's already too late. There is actually not much we can do anymore to prevent large-scale collapse. And by the way, when we look in the past, when we look at other great civilizations that have lived on this planet, they've all ended in the same way, through some massive collapse. And it started with their agriculture, and we are poisoning the air, poisoning the earth, poisoning the water, poisoning our own food supplies. We are exterminating whatever we can eat. So we are just shutting down our own food supplies. That means we're next. And that's why it's so important that people do come into action and not just sit there and be there and think that everything's going to be fine, because it won't. It already isn't fine. It's an illusion to think that things are okay. It's a bit doomy and a bit gloomy. I think it's quite realistic though. And at the same time, so what? I mean, we are eternal beings in the end. And if you die, you die, and you come back. And I don't think there's that much to really worry about, but it's good if we at least do an attempt, at a much larger collective scale, to transform how the power structures are organized and to bring it back to the ground. And instead of having a revolution, as it has happened in many other times that in recorded history, where, for example, French Revolution or other revolution, when they chopped off the heads of the oligarchy, I think we can have a dissolution now. I think we can really come into a state of love together at the collective, a love for each other and a love for nature, for our planet. And that has power, and that has meaning, and that has the potential to really transform everything massively. And if we manage to do that, and again, are we really going to have to do anything is still the question. Is this just a phase? Is our planet just moving through a part in the universe where naturally the energies and vibrations and frequencies are so high that we are all forced to come into this kind of a vibration, or we will die? And that means that a lot of people will die because a lot of people are not willing to do that. And that the people who are left will just transition and go through the eye of the needle and co-create this magical new world that many, many people are starting to see. It's beautiful. The last 2 years, the amount of people I've met that really envision this wonderful, co-creative, harmonious future full of abundance and regeneration and symbiotics with everything, including ourselves. Who knows? But it's important that people stop what we're doing now. And if you're in a 9-to-5 job and you feel that your life has no meaning, then stop. Then please do something about that, Like, at least do that. At least do something about your own life. Maybe you can't save the planet. Maybe we can't save the dolphins. Maybe we're going to lose the lions. Maybe the elephants are all going to disappear. But at least do something about that in your life. You have influence on that. Don't take the shoulder on your worlds, but at least take your own life into some kind of a direction that makes sense right now. I still don't get it. I still look around like, where is everybody? Is everybody thinking still that everything's going to go back to normal? Do people still think this pandemic is just going to go away? Do people think that the nature is, that the Amazon is not gone? Do people think that the Great Barrier Reef is just magically going to grow back together? So we've lost 60% of the reef. We lost half of the Amazon, and the deforestation is just increasing. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. We're going to see a lot of difficult things, and we need everybody hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, embracing that and stay calm and emotionally sound through the chaos. Because if we are together, we're okay. But if we are separate and we are in our ego and individualistic, and we are just fearful for our own pitiful life, that we need to protect our material belongings and our nationality and then we are gone. We are lost. So it's the not doing, and it's definitely doing, huh?
Also, yeah. It's really this combination, this balance. there is this way of dance and, not doing and at the same time doing. So this dance in between, work on yourself and also let it go, etc. So I am wondering, to bring the human being to the point to love himself, herself, to love the outside, what to do, what is your idea about this for yourself? Because it's a way that you are doing for yourself, and of course in a community. And I would love that you express what you are doing now, that you tell some words about what you are doing now, and what is the idea that you have and the action that you are doing for this goal, this purpose, this desire, I will say. And I can imagine this pleasure, because I want to tell that also, that the movement that we are doing, that I am doing for myself in my life, I am doing this because it gives me pleasure. I am doing this because it's my preference. So it's a choice according to my preference and to my pleasure. So I can imagine that you are doing this because it gives you pleasure, and it is really close to your values, close to your energy, and close to your preference.
The short version is I'm here to serve this project wherever I'm needed. So I don't exactly know what is exactly my role. It's also changing all the time. But I'm here with my wife. She's received a beautiful vision, many dreams, and a lot of guidance to be here in Alto Paradiso, to build a prototype city, a first city that may serve as an example that can be scaled over the world, to create 144 cities and 52 indigenous stations, and whatever other cities and villages that want to be created at the same time. These are just some numbers. But to create a network, an integrated network of city systems that are focused on global human need fulfillment, and with the emphasis on global human need fulfillment and ecological flourishing. That meaning within the ecological boundaries that we create as much and as to the best of our abilities in harmony with nature. It won't be like that the first 5 to 10 years. We're going to use a lot of coal and gas and use bad materials, but there's no other alternative. So we also need to create a transition into clean energy, clean production, regenerative agriculture, regenerative construction methods, 3D printing, etc. But the short version is that. And I'm not really so sure if I'm doing this because it's giving me pleasure. I'm really enjoying this journey. I'm having an amazing time. Would I still be doing it if I wouldn't have had such a great time? I think I would, because there's really not much else that makes sense. Because I think I've had the fortunate experience. I consider myself very privileged and very blessed to have had like 15 years of developing myself, doing studies, traveling all over the world, going to parties, and experiencing the joys of life. And now it's time to take responsibility. Because I've come to the point, I don't think there is really much time left anymore. So if it's really giving me pleasure, it's because it's in line with my values of freedom and adventure and love and connection. Those are really important. And because it's giving me the drive, because when you look at what really drives us is autonomy, purpose, and mastery. And I'm fully autonomous. This is very purposeful. This really makes sense. And it's something that I can practice on a day-to-day basis, and I'm getting really good at it. I'm really getting good at weaving the web of people and facilitating the space where this, whatever is happening, is happening. I'm really good at letting go and not doing. I'm really getting good at that. So it's that's why it's driving me. But there's also many days that I'm involved in Zoom calls, or I have to create things or write things, and I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, do I still have to do everything? When is somebody else going to, it's not like I'm really enjoying all these hours behind the computer. In the end, I want to be out in the field. I want to grow plants. I want to host ceremonies and make music and dance around the fire and do group work and be in nature. But I don't really want to be what I'm doing. but I really have to do this now, because if I don't do it, then definitely my wife doesn't have somebody that can do that. And she really needs help. And I really believe in that. So I'm also here to just serve. Yeah, it has meaning. I think it's much more important that it's meaningful than that things are pleasurable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed something also. And when I hear you, it resonates with me, the way to love yourself and really to feel connected to everything. From this point, I have the feeling that it comes the responsibility, because I feel connected to everything. Everything is me, I will say. So I am responsible of me. If I consider that everything is me and that I love myself in all this part that I see outside, I start really to feel responsible. And from this time, as I start to do action to create a good balance in between all this part of myself who resonate with me. So I have this feeling that when I come to the point that I love really myself and I love the world around me, I start to take my own responsibility and to share my gift with the world all around. And it also, for me, it's also connected to the pleasure. It's also the meaning and the involvement and the responsibility mixed to the pleasure, because it's a pleasure.
Nothing wrong with pleasure, huh? Don't get me wrong. It's good to have fun and to enjoy. It's important to have fun.
Yeah, of course. If not, it's so boring. If you feel that you need to share something that you forgot to tell, it's the good moment to share with everybody.
It's the same message as the beginning. Get up and go and do something about it. And you know what that means. And do that in your own life. Don't make it any bigger than what it needs to be. Take charge of that which you can handle. And if it still feels too big, make it smaller and do that first. If you want more of this understanding, listen to Jordan B. Peterson. He's amazing at helping you come into action to do something about your life. And if you are feeling strong and confident and you have somewhat professional skills and you really want to contribute to the emergence of a new civilization, of a new paradigm, then maybe GaiaNet is a place where you can add your energy to. But only contact that when you feel abundant in your energy, meaning you have mental clarity, you have emotional abundance, you have some sort of maturity within yourself. You don't have to be perfect, but gosh, yeah, being able to be with a group and create things without getting triggered is very relevant. Otherwise, better work on yourself first a little bit more if you get triggered a lot. And if you're curious to know more, then go to the website. Go to www.gaianet.earth, and we explain our vision, the mission. There's a contact form there, and yeah, you can connect. And we're right now in Brazil to make a city, which starts with a smaller project of like 30, 50 homes, a pilot, which will turn into the city later. But we are also connected with many people all over the world who are doing similar things and who want the same thing, who want to bring humanity into a regenerative, co-creative civilization. So if you want that too, and if that makes sense, and if that gives you meaning, then by all means, if you have the availability and you have the energy, then volunteer. Start with volunteering and get to know projects, people, and find out where you want to contribute. But you got to figure this out. We're not here to answer to your call and go discover that with you. That's really up to you. And once you've figured that out, please do give us a call. And we're going to need thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people over the next decade. Huh? And not talking me with other people. I'm talking we as humanity. It means you too. So, yeah, let's go.
Yes, let's go, like you said. So thank you, Dan, for this sharing. Really, thank you very much for your patience. I am really grateful to receive all this and to know you more also. I have a great feeling about this Gaianet, and I am really happy also to be connected to. And so, yeah, let's go and we will see.
That's it. Let's
Yeah.
enjoy the movie while it unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say bye to everybody and thank you to listen us during this time. And I wish to all the best, of course, and a lot of joy and love